I'm here with the great Levi J. Miller. Levi, how you doing, man?
Pretty good.
So, you have had 32 releases between August 2016 and 10 days ago, as of recording this, May 18th, 2018. How the hell are you able to sit down in the lab and crank them out that fast, man?
I think it's just kind of keeping yourself busy, because I don't really do anything else. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it, I guess.
Yeah.
I work, I come home, and then I kind of schedule out when I'm gonna be doing music. Like sometimes it'd be like for a couple hours a day. Sometimes I'll just spend an hour doing something just so I don't get burnt out. But yeah, it's all about just scheduling and keeping it.
I got you, man. Well, you said that earlier while we were setting everything up, you said that you've been playing music for something around the long, like around 9 years now? Something like
Yeah, since I was about 11, so we're coming up on, we're probably around like 8, 7, but
that? Okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay, cool, man. Nice.
Yeah.
So, okay. You have a lot of, like, full-length albums. Sometimes it's just like a 2-song release and whatnot.
Yeah.
What projects would you say are, like, that are most personal to you out of the ones you have? Because you have quite a few things.
Yeah. Probably the newest one, A Fleeting Memory. It's like 4 songs. That's really what I want to do musically, so I'd say that's pretty personal compared to the others. And then also there's one called Rain that I really like. It's on the Bandcamp. I don't know, I think they're all personal, but some are more just, they're more like, maybe I put more thought into it than some others that are more just like an exercise in like a certain genre or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I feel you. Well, you have a lot of stuff that's like, it surprised me when I was listening to your first record, Necessary Patterns.
Yeah.
And I was going through your discography, and I found stuff that was like drone music, and you had like computer generated drum beats and stuff like that over some stuff.
Yeah.
And so, what kind of led you going from just kind of classic band setup to moving in that direction for a little bit?
Well, it had a lot to do with what I was listening to. I've recently, like in the past couple years, just gotten more into ambient music and electronic. I mean, making like drum, bass, and guitar music is great, but a lot of the time I get a little bored with that, and I just want to, there's some stuff you can do with computers that you literally can't with like analog instruments, so I don't know, and also it just depends on the song. Sometimes I'll just be feeling a drum, like an electronic drum kit, more than a live one. So,
I feel you, man. You record everything yourself?
Yeah, pretty much. I do most of the drums first, and then I'll just add on everything else after that. So.
Okay, cool. So
occasionally I'll have like another person come in and do like a guitar solo or something, but for the most part it's me.
Oh, okay, cool, man.
Yeah.
So you've been like in a couple of projects now, haven't you? When you first started off, you were in False Knowledge.
Yeah.
You did like some solo stuff as well.
Yeah, that was like my punk band for like a couple years. Then I just decided I wanted to move it to under my name, just because I was getting bored and I felt kind of boxed in there with the punk music. Other than that, I've done Space Ride. I've like started a couple other things with people, and it hasn't really completely taken off yet, but I should be doing a couple new things this summer. But for the most part, I like to keep, like I used to make a new project under like a new name or something, but I've just sort of decided that I want to put everything that I'm really passionate about under my name, just so people know that like I can do a lot of different things, and it's not necessarily a different version of me as an artist. It all is the same artist. It's just I'm in a different place for a different release, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
Because month to month it can kind of change.
Yeah. No, it can.
Yeah.
What is it? So, are a lot of the albums that are under Levi J. Miller and Bandcamp, were those once other projects that you moved over to your name, or are there other projects that are still like false knowledge?
Most of, I'd say 95% of the stuff on the Bandcamp is like, it was originally there under my name, but there are like maybe 1 or 2 releases on there that I moved from. I have like a second Bandcamp page with a bunch of like stuff that I did back in a couple years before. Some of it I thought was good enough to move over to my like main Bandcamp, so I moved it over. But yeah, most of it is all like I made it while I was under my name. So
Okay, cool.
yeah, but I am in the process of moving a couple more things over there. So within the next month or so, there'll probably be a couple more old records pop up.
Yeah.
Down at the beginning of the Bandcamp page.
Oh, okay,
so
cool. So when did you? So the earliest release on your personal Bandcamp is the August 2016
Yeah.
Necessary Patterns. Is there stuff
yeah,
before that that's online in like a different name? Or something?
yeah, it's on like it's like a second Bandcamp page. It's linked on that Bandcamp page, but it's like all, not a lot of it is stuff that I really care for anymore. It's just like, to me, it's more like demos that show like where I was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Just like figuring things out, figuring out how to record and how to write songs that I like.
I got you.
But I'm working on like remixing and remastering a couple of the projects from there, and that's why I'm gonna move them over to the main Bandcamp at some point.
Oh, okay.
But it was actually in 2014 that I started like recording in the first place. It was like I had this project called What the Fuzz on SoundCloud, and that was like my first solo like pseudonym that I released music under.
Yeah.
But
Cool,
yeah.
man. Well, a lot of the stuff, especially like within this last year,
yeah,
it sounds production-wise, it sounds really good.
thank you. Yeah, that's like the main thing that I've been working on, like just trying to get, because I feel like I'm proficient at like writing and performing the song. It's just getting it into the recording and out and sounding good, which is the production part that I'm still working on it, but I think it's gotten drastically better recently, which I'm pretty happy about.
Nice, man. Well, where'd you learn how to do, because you have, I don't know if the camera's going to see everything, he has a sweet setup
Yeah.
all around here.
Yeah.
So, like, where did you, first of all, where did you get, like, the funds to set up everything, like, so great?
Well, it probably helps my dad is a songwriter, so I have to give him some credit, and he has friends who have definitely helped me out and just said, hey, here,
cool.
try this out, or something like that.
Yeah.
But for a lot of it, it has been just like me just really passionate about it and just trying to figure it out as I go along. I started with GarageBand on like an iPad or something.
Yeah.
And just figured out how to record super basically there. And then from there I got like a laptop and I started working on GarageBand there, and then eventually now I'm on Logic, which is, it's better than GarageBand. It's just a better, more, it's a little more professional, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot more like interesting computer-based stuff you can do with the production. So
I got you, man.
yeah, but for the most part, it's been, YouTube is good. I read a lot about production, but a lot of it has just been self-taught. You just kind of learn as you go.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude, DIY.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. So is that where you learned most of how to do it, is like YouTube, lessons
Yeah.
and whatnot, and also your dad being an artist.
And I mean, I went to Renaissance High School, which is there's an audio program there, so that was definitely also an aspect that
Okay.
always kept me thinking about it. You know.
Okay, cool, man. So there's one of the, I guess it's an EP
Mhm.
on your music that caught my eye because, dare I say, the name of it is inspired by the mighty Wu-Tang Clan.
Well, no, it's not there. You say it is inspired by him because
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's the songs are cash rules everything around me,
Yeah.
and
so,
yeah, it was just sort of. I think I did it in like a day because I was just bored. They're all like
yeah,
1-2 minutes long.
yeah.
They're all punk songs. Actually, a couple of those songs ended up being Space Ride songs. And
Okay.
if you listen to the Space Ride EP, which I think is still on Spotify and everything.
I think that on Bandcamp that's like an EP or maybe 2 EPs after Cream.
Yeah, it's like somewhere in there. But yeah, it's a couple of those songs ended up being Space Ride songs, and then the others I still think are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with Cream, was that the message that you feel like Cash?
Yeah,
is the-
I feel like the first song on there, it's called like Cash. That was sort of about that. And then the other songs were, I don't know, I kind of took the words that the abbreviation is for and just wrote songs based around that word. So like there's one about rules, there's one about, like there's one that's basically just like a noise rock song with like,
Yeah.
it's just sung about everything, because it's called Everything.
Yeah.
There's Around and Me. Those are both. They're all kind of just like very simple, fun, like punk songs. There's not much to them, but there definitely was like an idea of, you know, making it an homage to the Wu-Tang Clan, I guess.
Nice. Dude, so what is it? You start off very, at least on the your main band.
Yeah,
Recently.
yeah.
It started off very kind of indie rock with, you could tell, punk influences in there.
Yeah.
So what led you from going to that to going into, because I remember on what is it? Cut a Hole in the Water. There was a lot of drone and it got more slow and a lot sadder.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah, I
led it
think.
from going into that to,
I don't know. At first, I was just like, and this happens a lot with like bands and stuff in general. You start out wanting to do one thing, and then you kind of start to realize that you're wearing your influences on your sleeve a little bit, and you want to just make it more your own as you go on. So a couple releases in, like with the Cut a Hole in the Water, I was just trying to make it a little weirder, a little less like Mac DeMarco-y, and more just like just strange, which I'm still trying to do today, but I think I just want to move completely away from the indie rock thing for a while and just try to make something that people wouldn't expect to hear from me, which is always the exciting part of releasing something.
yeah.
Because I don't want to just repeat the same thing over and over.
I got you.
I don't really care for bands that do that.
So you're gonna get face tattoos and become a SoundCloud rapper, because that'd be pretty.
I've been talking with one of my friends, shout out to Gabe, about doing some rap.
Oh, okay.
But it'd probably be me just doing the production and stuff, because I do love a lot of rap. But
Nice.
definitely, I guess I should say that as far as my influences and stuff, hip hop is definitely like up there. Like it doesn't really show in my music maybe all that much, but there's something about like just the free spirit of it that you don't have to like. You can kind of just completely make your own mark on the genre. And I feel like rappers have this like kind of ego to it that is part of the character. It's part of like the their character as an artist, but they also like put their personality into their music more than other genres, I guess,
Yeah.
which is something that I'm really looking to do.
Okay.
Because with a lot of like indie music today, it's just very vapid, and there's not very much personality. Like the lyrics aren't very in depth; they're kind of vague, and I'm trying not to do that as much. Because definitely when I started off, the beginning of like my releases on the Bandcamp and stuff, the lyrics were a lot more vague, and I'm trying to make them a lot more specific now, and really pinpoint what I want to write about. But
Okay, cool.
yeah.
What would you say, other than just rap, what would you say your other influences are from indie to drone?
Well, I don't know. I mean, my favorite band is Titus Andronicus, who are kind of an indie rock punk band with really sort of verbose lyrics. And then same with like Parquet Courts, I really enjoy. As far as drone, I really enjoy this guy named Tim Hecker. He kind of takes samples of things and just layers them on top of each other, which is something I'm really into.
Nice.
I think Death Grips is really good.
Those
Yeah.
are awesome, yeah.
They're definitely pushing the boundary. I don't know. I'd have to like, I could keep on listing, but those are some of the things that I've pretty consistently listened to these past couple years.
I feel you, man. Cool. So back when we were edgy high school students, back in 2016, the scene was really popping, and the Oakland fires happened.
Oh yeah, no, that totally ruined it. It was, I mean, obviously it was tragic, and there was definitely like a point to what people were saying about like safety measures in venues and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think it was taken a little too far in some cases, because everything was pretty much shut down.
Yeah.
I don't really know too much about it, like, because I didn't really run a venue or anything at that time, but I feel like maybe whenever I was trying to have shows in this room at my house, my parents were definitely a little more skeptical after that. Understandably, but...
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask, since things have seemed to really kind of die down now, the scene's reestablishing itself, I was going to ask someone who has been in the scene for a hot minute and is still working on shows and recording and whatnot, have you found that the scene has been able to bounce back quite a bit, or is it still somewhat difficult to get things started?
I don't know. I mean, one thing that I'll say is just, I don't know if there's as much of a scene anymore as it is just like a bunch of bands just like kind of doing their own thing, but they play shows together. That's more of what it is now. I think until we, especially in like Nashville, there's like different like cliques of bands that like don't really they don't really work with each other, and like they don't really play shows together. Until everybody starts doing that together, it's going to be like pretty difficult to like call it a scene, at least in my opinion, because there's just a lot of unnecessary like just like there's not a lot of like openings for bands that might not have a ton of connections, and when it's a scene, there really should be. Like, you should be able to start a band and just find somebody to play shows with, but it's not really like that all the time in Nashville. It's a little tricky to get into. Yeah. And also, I mean, I really, like I said before, I don't know if I'd call it a scene. I'd just call it just playing shows in the area, because Nashville's pretty oversaturated, and there's just so many people that it's not like everybody's working together on one thing, you know? Yeah. It's a million different.
Yeah, it's funny that, because I've been the new kid on the block in a couple of projects, and it's funny that in Music City it can be especially difficult just to get your foot in the door and whatnot.
Yeah, it's like totally ironic, because like it's supposed to be like this place where people can go and like have a like this exciting opportunity, but a lot of the time nobody says it's easy, but like at the same time it's unless you really make yourself like noticeable and different, probably you aren't going to make it in Nashville, because that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm just trying to make myself sound as different as possible as I can from other bands in Nashville, and I'm just trying to I don't know, I'm just trying to not do the expected, which is, it can be pretty tough sometimes, but I don't know, I'm still figuring it out, but I'm trying to make it to where I can be, and other bands that I like I want all of the bands that I play with and enjoy, I want them to see success. And in a place like Nashville, you've just got to make yourself different and stand out. You can't just be like another person just playing at a bar, just not caring, because there's a lot of bands that just seem like they don't care at all, and I don't think you can really make it unless the music's really good. You have to care a little bit.
I feel you, man. So there's always you do always, as a musical artist, you're always trying to push the envelope and test yourself in a different way or whatnot. Do you find it, in terms of wanting to be different and whatnot, has there ever been a time where someone suggests something to you where you felt like it was selling out and you had to move away from what they suggested? Or have you always found it easy to stay true to yourself and experiment in different things?
Well, nobody's ever asked me to do something in my music, because usually it's just totally a solo thing. But I will say there have been times where I've been a little hesitant to add things into the music. For the past couple years, I've always been super skeptical of using auto-tune in a creative sense, even sort of like a Travis Scott or a Kanye West would use it. But lately I've had an album called Identity come out a few months ago, and I used some weird auto-tune effects on there. That's just an example, what some might call a weird thing that they wouldn't ever put in their music. You've just got to kind of remove yourself from the stigma that you've kind of stuck yourself to for so long, and you've just got to kind of open yourself up to doing stuff that you are not comfortable with doing musically, or else it's just going to get boring.
Yeah.
Which is the worst thing.
Yeah.
So.
All right, cool, man. Well, in Cut a Hole in the Water as well, there's a lot of, dare I say, kind of broken, disturbing sounds in it. There's a lot of stuff that's just, I guess noise rock would be the best way to put it, to where it just sounds, in not an insulting way at all, ugly.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It gets an emotion out of you, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that it's a lot of just taking sounds that, might be from recordings or just weird noises you can make with your guitar or something, and then just warping it on the computer so much that it just doesn't sound like the original thing at all, which is something that's always fun to do.
Yeah.
It definitely I feel like a lot of with a lot of that stuff, it removes the human aspect of it so much that it kind of makes it cool, in my opinion. A lot of people don't like hearing less human qualities in the music. Human qualities are great, and I love a lot of music that sounds like you're in the room hearing it played. But at the same time, there's a whole different appeal to hearing something that sounds like something that no one could make without tons of help from a computer or something like that.
Cool, man. Is that something you think you could get away with playing live?
You gotta be creative with that. I just recently got started using keyboard live, and yeah, you've got to find ways to do it live. But some people play the tracks in the background, and that can help with recreating those sounds. Some people find ways to do it with pedals and stuff like that, but it's kind of a challenge sometimes, yeah.
Cool, man. So you said earlier that you don't feel like that there's a scene as much as a collective of bands that play together as much. That it's not as
Well, yeah, it's
supportive.
more like a couple different collectives, so it's not so
Yeah,
much as
sorry.
a scene, it's just like different little bubbles of people that don't really necessarily work together all the time.
So what do you think that we could do to better establish a unified scene in Franklin and Nashville or what have you? What do you think that we could do to try and establish a more supportive community?
I don't know, I think Nordista Freeze has done a pretty good job with Freeze Fest, but at the same time, that's
Yeah.
only one time a year.
Yeah.
So it's a great scene for a few days, but then it just goes back to how it is. So I think there's not really one solution for it. Just people need to they just need to be more comfortable, reaching out to people online and just playing shows with new people. Because there's nothing better than playing with as many people as possible. Because you never know who's going to give you a new opportunity that you might have not otherwise had if you hadn't met them and played a show with them and stuff like that.
Okay, cool, man.
But yeah, just people reaching out to each other.
Okay, cool, man. Awesome. Do you have what is it? Do you have any releases? The camera's almost dead. Do you have any releases that you want to promote that are coming up anytime soon, or any shows you're playing?
Yeah, we're playing a show June 8th at this house in Nashville, which I can't remember the address, but come to that. And then we're also playing at Two Boots sometime this month. There'll probably be a show here sometime soon. And as far as releases, I guess I'm working on something new. I don't have it entirely planned out, but it's going to be definitely the weirdest one yet. So
Okay, cool. Weird how?
just really, it's going to be strange. There's going to be kind of a hip-hop thing. There's going to be kind of a noise thing going on with it too. It's going to be cool, but yeah.
Awesome, dude. Well, hey, thank you for your time, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Alright, cool. I don't want to get cut off this sentence.